I'm going to start with refuge, bodhicitta, four immeasurables, seven-limb prayer. We'll do in English. I go for refuge until I'm enlightened, to the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Supreme Assembly. By the accumulation of merits of practicing generosity and so forth, may I become a Buddha to benefit all sentient beings. I go for refuge until I'm enlightened, to the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Supreme Assembly. By the accumulation of merits of practicing generosity and so forth, may I become a Buddha to benefit all sentient beings. I go for refuge until I'm enlightened, to the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Supreme Assembly. By the accumulation of merits of practicing generosity and so forth, may I become a Buddha to benefit all sentient beings. May all sentient beings have happiness and the causes of happiness. May all sentient beings be free from suffering and the causes of suffering. May all sentient beings never be separated from the happiness which is without suffering. May all sentient beings abide in equanimity, free from both attachment and hatred, holding some close and others distant. Reverently, I prostrate with my body, speech, and mind. I present every type of offering, actual and imagined. I declare all my negative actions accumulated since beginningless time, and rejoice in the merit of all holy and ordinary beings. Please remain until the end of cyclic existence, and turn the wheel of Dharma for living beings. I dedicate my own merits and those of others to the great enlightenment. Saji puki jokshin metok tramri rablingji ni degen padi sange jingdu mikte uwar Gidro ko namdak jing la cho par shok idam guru ratna mandala kam niryatayami. Shall we recite Shakyamuni Buddha mantra for 7 times? Why not? Lillian said. Taya tao muni muni maha munaye soha. Taya tao muni muni maha munaye soha. Taya tao muni muni Maha Munaye Soha. Taya Ta'o Muni Muni Maha Munaye Soha. Taya Ta'o Muni Muni Maha Munaye Soha. Taya Ta'o Muni Muni Maha Munaye Soha. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everybody. Strategically organizing the flowers. So, our motivation, once again, bodhicitta. Great concern for all sentient beings, no matter what they do to you, no matter how difficult they are, no matter how much they dislike you, they don't agree with you, no matter how much attached you were to them, and they were attached to you, and then they change their minds, and then they're not attached to you. find that quite amusing. What we call love. So they're attached to you. Oh, I love you so much. I love you too. And then one day they don't love you so much. And then the fight over the property or the money or whatever it is. And then afterwards, you can have all these bad feelings, about the person who loved you, but then turned against you. I think that's hard to try and resolve that uncomfortable, negative feeling towards somebody who turned against you. The best friend turned into the enemy. The partner went off with somebody else. So how do you stop yourself having low self-esteem, low self-confidence when somebody's done that to you? You need self-love, self-confidence, self-esteem. So we're looking at the qualities of Buddha, Shakyamuni Buddha, the Dharma, the Sangha, in order to know, to understand. When we're saying, I take refuge in Buddha, Dharma, Sangha, it's not just from here, from the mouth. It's from the heart that you have a good feeling about it. You know what you're taking refuge in. So, last week, I said the Buddha's holy mind is omniscient, can simultaneously perceive past, present, and future, karma and delusions, the personality of each living being, and all elements of existence. Hold on a minute, I just need to switch on the AC for Lillian before she dies of a heat attack. She thinks she's in the desert. Okay, there you go. So, the one thing I think needs to be clarified there is that Buddha is not the same as God. So Buddha is not a creator. And that's where we can get confused. Be careful that you don't start approaching or thinking of Buddha as a creator. He's omniscient, but not a creator. So he doesn't create and he doesn't destroy. So in Hinduism, you have creation, destruction, maintenance, Vishnu, Indra, Brahma, all these gods. They have that system. In Christianity, you have God, the creator, and you're made in his image or her image, and you're born in sin, and then you get closer and closer to God, which means that you can go to heaven. In this system, in the Buddhist system, then because it's a system of philosophy, then you could start to approach Buddha as a God image, I think, which means you get confused, because then you start to pray to Buddha God, help, I want this, please save me, help me with this situation, whatever it is. I think we need to be careful about that element of confusion. Same with Tara, same with Manjushri, Chinrezig, all of the Buddhas. They all have these qualities of being omniscient, perceiving past, present, future, etc. But Buddha himself said, I cannot wash you free of your sins or negativities. Sins, it's a heavy word, isn't it? Negativities. I cannot wash you free of negativities. You need to do the work yourself. In India, people go to the Ganges and they wash themselves in the Ganges, and they believe that they're washing themselves free of their delusions and their negative karma. So I think Buddha was addressing that element of society who was saying, well, in Hinduism, it's so easy. We go to the river, we wash, we're free of sins. When Buddha said, well, I can't do that. But what I can do is educate you. And by educating you, then I give you the tools, not just in this life, but every future life until enlightenment. So I'm giving it all to you. So then we come to the Dharma. So what Buddha taught, we call the Dharma. In India, they would say much stronger, DH, Dharma. I can't say like that. The teachings of Buddha. So the word Dharma, as I understand it, is, in this case, Buddha Dharma, to hold you on a virtuous path. So it's as if it's magnetizing you to the Buddhist path, which is teaching you virtue and how to avoid non-virtue. So here we're quoting Maitreya, Sublime Continuum of the Great Vehicle. There's a verse which has 8 characteristics defining Dharma Jewel. So it's inconceivable, free from both, non-conceptual, pure, clear, antidote to the opposite, freedom from attachment, and the means to that, being defined by the 2 truths, is the Dharma. So what this means is the definition of Dharma Jewel is a completely purified truth in the continuum of a superior being who has any of the 8 qualities, such as being inconceivable. So this seems a little bit confusing or maybe a bit difficult to understand, but what it means is a superior being would understand the Dharma to be the truth. When we talk about the Four Noble Truths, it's a truth for somebody who has a superior mind. For us, it may not be the truth. So we have the truth of suffering. A superior being would realize the truth of suffering. For us, we might argue about the truth of suffering. Well, I'm not suffering, you know. I have chocolate, I have a relationship, I have a nice house, I have good children. I'm not suffering. But we have to go deeper than that. We have to become more profound. And then we have to have realizations in order to know the truth. So Dharma Jewel is a completely purified truth in the continuum of a superior being. The Dharma is a cessation of suffering and the path leading to the cessation of suffering. So, you know, out of the Four Noble Truths, truth of suffering, cause of suffering, cessation of suffering, the path out of suffering, the last 2 are the Dharma, the cessation of suffering and the path leading to the cessation of suffering. When we talk about refuge, the Dharma is referred to in the context of refuge as the 2 noble truths, the true path and the true cessation, when we're talking about refuge. So when you're taking refuge, you want to take refuge in the path and you want to take refuge in the cessation of the suffering, which is where the path will lead you to. So when you practice and meditate every day, you receive some cessation of suffering. If you sit every day, if you do a little bit of study every day, you receive some cessation of suffering. Sorry. Because you're applying the antidotes to the non-virtuous states of mind that cause the suffering. So because you do this on a daily basis, you're reducing your suffering. So therefore, you have a slight cessation of suffering. Therefore, you have Dharma refuge. The Dharma jewel is inconceivable. In the 8 qualities, it's inconceivable. The true cessation is the object of meditative equipoise of only a superior being, and is beyond the concept of an ordinary being. So when we talk about meditation on true cessation, we don't understand true cessation. We understand true suffering. but we don't understand truth cessation. So you have to have the superior mind in order to be able to understand true cessation. So therefore, it's inconceivable to us. We don't get it, people. We don't understand it. But we can imagine, we can have some sort of imagination or inspiration that there is a cessation because we see it. We see it in these great beings that are still around us, His Holiness Sakya Trinzen and, people like that. We can see it, that true cessation. So we get some inkling what it must feel like, but we can't actually experience it because we're ordinary beings. We're still on the path to true cessation. Free from both is that true cessation is free from either or both contaminated karma and delusion. So when it says free from both, that being is free from karma, contaminated karma, and delusion. Non-conceptual is that true cessation is not superimposed by way of concept because it is not a mind. True cessation is not a projection, is not being created by mind as a sort of, as a duality, if you like. It's not being created by mind and then being superimposed as true cessation. It is true cessation. It's not being created by mind as true cessation. It's not a concept. It's not something that you are creating in your mind as an idea. It's a realization. It's something that happens, which is the removal of something, not the gaining of something, right? You're taking something away. You're taking away contamination and delusion, and therefore you're experiencing the nature of mind. Pure, in that the true path is pure of delusions. The true path is pure of delusions. So when you're following the true Dharma path, it cannot delude you. It cannot take you in the wrong direction because it is pure. Clear, in that the true path clearly perceives conventional and ultimate truths. The true path is free of delusion, it's pure, it's also clear in that it clearly perceives conventional and ultimate truth. So when the path is being taught to you, you're establishing what conventional truth is, and you're establishing what ultimate truth is in the way of clarity, not more confusion. The mind is confused and is ignorant, and we want to take ourselves away from that ignorance and that confusion, and the Dharma path will do that for you. Antidote to the opposite. The true path is the antidote to the three poisons. So it's attachment, aversion, ignorance. Antidote to the opposite. The true path should help you to reduce your desirous attachment, your ignorance, your aversion. But if you find that your desirous attachment, your ignorance, and your aversion are growing, is it the Dharma path that's the problem, or your application of it, or your study of it, or whoever's teaching it to you? Don't write to me. just tune out. So, sometimes I worry about online teachings because I think sometimes it can be open to misconception. So you can receive a teaching and you think you know what's going on, but actually you could be misinterpreting. Remember the three pots or the three cups. One's polluted, one's dirty. So it's got some sort of smell in it, contaminating whatever you hear. One's upside down, so it's facing in the wrong direction. And the other is cracked in that whatever you pour into the cup can't stay in the cup. So we have to be careful at the beginning of teachings that we have the correct motivation, correct direction. Freedom from attachment and the means to that. Specifically, freedom from attachment refers to the true cessation, and the means to that is the path of cessation. So true cessation means you finish all your attachments. You're still in this world. You're still eating. You're still drinking. You know, like I said, Lama Yeshe used to say, you think renunciation is you give up your food. But then when your stomach starts grumbling, you think, well, I have to eat. What am I going to do? I'm a renunciate. Especially, you know, I think in the old days, Western monks and nuns, they used to think that in order to become monk or nun, they had to stop eating. And so then Lama Yeshe used to say, but you can't stop eating. It's not an attachment to eating unless you have an attachment to a particular food, to a particular taste, etc. Then you've got a problem. So the superior is one that would have given up that attachment, renounced that attachment. Being defined by the two truths is the Dharma. The last two of the Four Noble Truths, true cessation, true path, are the Dharma jewel. The conventional Dharma jewel is referred to as the 12 branches of the Buddha's doctrine. This is not the actual Dharma jewel. The ultimate Dharma jewel is the true cessation and the path of cessation, and this is the actual Dharma jewel. So when we're talking about the Dharma jewel, I think often we're talking about conventional teachings, the books, the teachings, you know, the conventional. But we need to look to the ultimate Dharma jewel, the true cessation and the path of cessation. That's the actual Dharma jewel. Something that's not inherently existent, and yet it exists. We think of suffering as something that inherently exists. When we're experiencing it, we think it really exists. You know, I'm suffering. I'm having a terrible time. My dog left me, packed up its dog suitcases and left home. And I'm feeling so sad about it because I've been rejected. That's the attachment, you know, for the animal, if you like. So then we think attachment inherently existent. It really exists. The love of the animal really exists. The animal really exists. My love for the animal really exists. But when you analyze the situation, not from the conventional truth, but from the ultimate truth, you start to understand that what you're doing is you're using your mind to impute onto the animal. And I'm using an animal as an example. You project onto the animal your love, but your love is not about you giving, it's about you taking. So it's what you want from the animal, you know. You want the animal to wag its tail and look at you, you know, with those big eyes, big brown eyes, and sort of love you. And no matter what sort of mood you're in, what sort of bad mood, what sort of bad day you've had, the dog wags its tail or the cat wags its tail and loves you. So when we're talking about the ultimate truth, you first look at the conventional truth and look at all the things that you think exist from their side. The love of the animal, the love from the animal, your love for the animal, the attachment for the animal, etc. And then with the ultimate truth, you start to destroy all of that. You start to destabilize it, if you like, and then take it all away. Because if you leave it there, you're leaving in place something that has the potential to cause harm to you and to the animal, the attachment. Not the pure love, but the attachment. So then if you use that analogy towards a human being, we do the same for human beings. We create an attached situation, and then when the other being isn't how we expect them to be, isn't how we project them to be, then we start to experience pain and suffering. We experience the noble truth of suffering. Then you have to look at the cause of the suffering. The conventional truth is the cause, not the ultimate truth. The ultimate truth causes the cessation of suffering, is the path of suffering. That's the ultimate truth, is the path. The conventional truth is the one that causes the suffering. Okay? Real. You know, think of the flowers as real, the person as real, as you think they are. I mean, I'm drinking this drink. I think there's really a drink. I don't think molecules, atoms, flavor, water. I just think I'm drinking something. And the same with the cup. I'm just thinking there is a cup and there is a liquid. But when you analyze with the ultimate truth, then you start to see how all of that is empty of inherent existence. But the way we're behaving in our ordinary life is mostly from the conventional point of view. So when you're taking refuge, you want to take the conventional refuge. Buddha, Dharma, Sangha. We're coming to Sangha now. So Buddha, Dharma, Sangha. And you say, Sangha, you do like this. So conventionally, I'm suffering. Conventionally, you exist. And conventionally, I want to be fixed. How do I get fixed? Give me some energy. Give me your blessings. But Buddha said, I'm going to fix you by giving you the Dharma, not by some sort of hocus pocus, you know, woo, and you'll be fine. Not like that. He said, I'm going to give you the Dharma. And then we look at the qualities of the Dharma, and then it's incontrovertible. It's something that can't do you any harm, must only do you good. So if the Dharma is not doing you any good, and you've been in the Dharma for 10 years, 15 years, please consider whether you're really applying the Dharma or whether you should leave. Perhaps you're in the wrong system. It's not the Dharma problem, it's the application of it, the way you're taking it on. I say this because I heard His Holiness say it some years ago in Dharamsala. He said, if you've been in Dharma for 5, 10, 15 years, no change. In fact, it seems like things are getting worse. Maybe you should leave and go back to your old religion. And there was a group of Italian people in a restaurant, you know, after that teaching, going on and on, you know, and I said to the person with them, what's the problem? And they said, well, they think His Holiness is talking about them. So they were Christians, they'd come to a teaching, they'd given up Christianity, they became Buddhist, and for 15 years, they'd been coming every year to Dharamsala. And they hadn't changed. So they got really upset. How can His Holiness say like this? You know? But then I heard afterwards, they gave up Buddhism, they went back to Christianity, and then they wrote to His Holiness and said, because of Buddhism, they understood Christianity even better. This is an incredible leader, right? Somebody who says to you, bye-bye. Doesn't say, stay with me, you know, you're mine, but you're free to go if Buddhism's not working for you. It's a philosophy that should be working for you. But if over the years it hasn't worked, you seriously need to look at, am I really applying it properly? Have I really heard the Dharma? Because it should lead to true cessation, not to true suffering. Right? So you've got true suffering, cessation of suffering. Which are you? Are you increasing the suffering or increasing, the cessation? We need to have a sort of inner search in our meditation. We need to really check whether we're putting the Dharma into practice. And if we really are, true cessation should seem as if it's becoming possible. But if your suffering is increasing and increasing and increasing, then I think you need to look at your application of the Dharma. And are you really taking refuge? And do you understand what it means to take refuge? Okay, that's my rant for today. Now the Sangha. We go on to the Sangha. So 8 characteristics, again, the Sangha refuge. It says, by reason of purity, what I should do for the Buddha Dharma Sangha, I should type these up, shouldn't I? Something extra for me to do. Why not? 8 characteristics. So I'll type up these verses for you before you write. Don't write. I'll do it tomorrow. By reason of purity, perceiving as it is, all that is, and the inner realization of both, the assembly of the wise, irreversible ones are endowed with unsurpassable qualities. So here we're talking about the Sangha refuge as a superior being, possessing any of the good qualities of realization and freedom. The superior being is defined as somebody who has attained the path of insight, gaining realization of the non-self of existence, the non-self of personality and phenomena. Okay, so that's the actual refuge, the real refuge, if you like, Sangha refuge, a superior being. Then, perceiving as it is refers to the superior's direct perception of the ultimate truth, not a direct perception means without any obstacle in between. So they're not generically creating an understanding of emptiness. They're not conceptualizing emptiness, but they're directly perceiving the emptiness. So that's a superior. All that is refers to the superior's perception of the conventional truth of phenomena. So we have around us the conventional truth, and the superior understands the conventional truth, understands how it works, and then understands the emptiness of it directly. The inner realization of both refers to the inner realization in the continuum of a superior, knowing both ultimate and conventional truths. So when it says inner realization of both, they understand the emptiness of the conventional truth. They understand the emptiness of ultimate truth. You know, many people have said to me, it appears that ultimate truth is really existent. So as if ultimate truth becomes true. And then you get into another problem, because it looks like ultimate truth is inherently existent. So what you have to remember is conventional truth is empty of inherent existence, but also the ultimate truth is empty of inherent existence, because ultimate truth is in relation to conventional truth. Without conventional truth, where would ultimate truth be? It's a dependent arising. Realization is implied as a quality, and is the realization of the above three. All that is inner realization of both. It's a quality. The realization is. It's the quality of mind. Purity is being free from the obstructions to liberation. Purity of being free from the obstructions to omniscience. Purity of being free from obstructions by the inferior. So that means if they held the lesser goal of liberation, they would want to get out just for themselves. So they're free of that obscuration, of that obstruction, because they want to benefit all sentient beings. So they're not limited to just liberation for themselves. They want to benefit all sentient beings. Purity of the freedom from a superior's respective objects of abandonment. So then, what do they have? What do they abandon? The first four qualities are classified as being realization, and the last four as freedom. First four, realizations. The last four are freedom from something. The conventional Sangha jewel is a superior being and is the actual Sangha jewel. The ultimate Sangha jewel is referred to as the true cessation and the path of cessation in the continuum of a superior being. So when we talk about true cessation and the path of cessation, it's contained within the mind of the superior being. They are the path. It's not the actual Sangha jewel. So the Sangha jewel is in the mind of the jewel, if you like. That's what we need to look for. That mind, that special mind that actually benefits the cessation of suffering and the path out of suffering. So when we talk in ordinary terms, the Sangha can be considered to be any group of 4 or more monks or novices. So it's said that in any country where there are 4 monks or nuns, there is Dharma. If you don't have 4 monks or nuns, then it's called a barbarian country. Very few countries now where there is not Dharma. The unfortunate thing is, I think, for Western monks and nuns, they find it so difficult to maintain their existence as monks and nuns. I think that's a major problem. If we don't take care, and you know, now it's me talking, being older, but if you don't take care of the older Sangha, the younger Sangha won't exist. Because then the younger Sangha will look to the older Sangha and say, oh my goodness, what's going to happen to me when I'm 60, 65, 70? What will happen? So what I see as the problem now to developing Dharma in the world is that if we don't take care of the older Sangha, the younger Sangha won't be inspired. Not just to have monasteries, nunneries. There are Dharma centers around the world. And in many Dharma centers, there's 1 monk or nun, and they do incredible amount of work. And then they're alone without the support of other Sangha, and often given very small allowance. I think they have a tough life. So why I'm saying this is because we really need to value the Western monks and nuns as much as the Tibetan, Nepali, Indian monks and nuns. We need to value the Western monks and nuns. They make a great sacrifice, and in many cases, they don't have any money, and they're sort of just hanging on, hoping that things will get better. So we need to understand that. Without the Sangha, without the ordained Sangha, being in one country, 4 monks or nuns, we don't have the Dharma jewel. The real Sangha is not determined by sex, race, sex, race, level of ordination, or worldly status. We can't say, when we talk about Sangha, not just monks and nuns, we can't say who is Sangha. We can't say who's got realizations. So realized superior beings could be amongst the ordained, but also could be lay people. When you look at Milarepa, Marpa, Naropa, Turopa, you know, many, many realized beings, they were realized, but they were lay people. So if you think only monks and nuns can become superior beings, you're mistaken. You have to have the mind of respect, treating every Dharma practitioner as if they're a superior being. You have to, because you cannot know who is a superior being. until we have a more purified mind, a mind with purification, but also merit, when we perceive anybody, we're not perceiving the truth. We're perceiving our perception of the truth. Our karma and delusion is being projected onto them. When you become a superior being, you see the truth. So that's the problem. They're manifesting in all different ways in order to help you to become enlightened. So it's the three jewels, the Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha, that can help living beings remove their suffering. The Buddha is the principal object of refuge because he's the one that gave the teachings. Without him, we wouldn't have the Dharma. The Dharma is the actual refuge, as it's the Dharma realizations that bring the cessation of suffering. So often people think that the Buddha is the real refuge. But he's not, because the Buddha gave the teachings are the Dharma, so the teachings are the actual refuge, which bring about the cessation of suffering. The Sangha are the helpers who help you to actualize the Dharma refuge. So when you're having difficulties, when you're in trouble, when your minds turn negative, when the delusions are arising, the negative karmas are rising, then it's to the helpers, the Sangha, that you turn, and they're the ones who say to you, oh yeah, you know, I had a problem with my meditation, or my mind went negative. They're the ones who, like the nurse in the hospital, they fluff up the pillows and they say, you know, don't worry, you'll be okay. They give you hope. So we very much need the Sangha. That's why we started this online platform, because we wanted to give you the opportunity to come together as a Sangha, which is more powerful than being alone. So the example is of a disease that needs a doctor and a nurse and medicine in order to remove the disease. We have the prime example of COVID, but we've got no cure for it. So better not to think about COVID. But think of a disease that has a cure. You go to the doctor. I often used to give the example, hold on, little drink. I used to give the example of a terrible disease called samsara. You go on the internet, you Google it, samsara, and it comes up, there's one doctor in the world. Where is he? Switzerland, of course, or she. Actually, I think I changed the story to she after a while. I got fed up with he. So she's in Switzerland, but when you look on Google Maps, you can't even find where she is. Up some mountain, you know? And you're going to have to walk up there, and you've got this disease and you're feeling really sick. You've got no money. So you max out your credit cards, you fly to Switzerland, you get to Geneva, and you've got to climb up this mountain. There's no cable car, there's nothing. You've just got to walk. You've got your bag on your back, and you know, as you're going up, and you're thinking, the doctor will help me, the doctor will help me. You know, it's your mantra, isn't it? I must get to the doctor, must get to the doctor. So you get to where the doctor's residence is, beautiful area. There's so many people, packed. And they ask you, where did you come from? You look Australian. With your little flag on the rucksack. Oh yes, I'm from Australia. Good day. You know, you've got your big hat on. So I need to see the doctor. I've come all the way from Australia. And they say, oh, you should go first because you're our esteemed visitor. And so you go in, and the doctor's got a big desk and many certificates, and she looks at you very kindly. You explain your symptoms. Oh, yes, yes, I know what to do. She gives you a bag of medicine. So you very carefully put this medicine away in your bag because it's going to solve all your physical problems. You go all the way back to Australia, you go home, you put the bag of medicine on the shelf near the bed. Gradually, you're getting sicker and sicker. You say to your friends, I'm not well. I don't feel good. They say, what happened? Didn't you go to Switzerland? Yes. Didn't you see the specialist? Oh, yes. Amazing woman. She knew exactly what was wrong with me. She gave me this bag of medicine. So isn't the medicine working? Oh, no, I'm not taking it. I'm waiting. Well, what are you waiting for? Oh, you know, tomorrow. The wind to be in the right direction, the sun to come up in the east and be warm or cold. And, you know, we have so many excuses why we're not taking it today. Or it tastes horrible. If you taste some herbal medicine, you think, oh, it tastes horrible. You know, I'd rather have the disease than the horrible medicine. So it's like that with Buddha, Dharma, Sangha. You need the Buddha to give you the diagnosis. The Dharma is the medicine. The Sangha are the nurses or the helpers, the nice people around who said, you go in. The friends who said to you, aren't you taking the medicine? You should take the medicine. So what do? We get all the teachings. Geshe Sonam Rinchen used to say to us, you people have so many books full of so many teachings, I bet you never read them. True. We make so many notes, but do we actually go back over the notes and read? Do we check that we've got things correct in the mind? Then do we contemplate it? Then do we meditate on it? Then it becomes one with the mind. So in the teachings it says, like milk and water mixed, only a swan can separate the milk and the water. Otherwise, the teachings in your mind are inseparable. But if the teachings in your mind are separable, what should I do? You have to think, oh, I should do like this, but already the reaction has come. Then the teachings in your mind are separable, not inseparable. So what we need to do is work more and more to bringing the Dharma closer and closer to our mind so that the Dharma and the mind becomes one. We need the Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha to be able to cross the ocean of cyclic existence and reach liberation or enlightenment. You should not rely on them just to gain some form of temporary happiness, such as protection from heat, cold, hunger, or thirst, or freedom from the COVID. The purpose of taking refuge in the three jewels is for the greater goals of liberation and enlightenment, not to gain temporary happiness. So like I said before, I think many people have this misconception that they're unhappy and they want to do some Dharma practice because then they'll be happy. And then when they're happy, they stop. And then when they become unhappy, they start again. So it's a sort of stop-start. You know, when I'm not happy, Dharma. When I'm happy, Dharma? No, I don't need it. I give it up. So now, 4 reasons why the Buddha is worthy of being an object of refuge and can therefore be relied upon completely. Why? 4 reasons. The Buddha is free from all fear. The Buddha is free from all fear. This is why or how you should rely on him, because if he's free from fear, he can teach you, he can inspire you to be free of fear. He has tranquility and fearlessness. If he is not beyond cyclic existence, then how can he help others to escape? So only somebody can rescue you if they're on firm ground. You know, the example is that if you're on quicksand and your rescuer is on quicksand, what can the rescuer do? You know, the rescuer is sinking, you're sinking, there's no rescue. So if you're looking at a situation where you need to be rescued, you need to look for somebody who doesn't need to be rescued themselves. A refuge object not having extensive knowledge and qualities, or not having realized the path of cessation and the cessation of suffering, cannot benefit other living beings. So because Buddha has the cessation of suffering and the path out of suffering, has the realizations of everything, the Buddha can help you. The Buddha has realized the path of cessation and has the cessation of suffering. He is not suffering himself, so he's not going to impute suffering onto you. He has the perfection of all qualities and all-encompassing knowledge, and therefore has the capability to benefit others without any obstacle. He can speak in anybody's language. He can understand everybody's mind. He can say one word and liberate you from your suffering. But we need to have the karma to experience the Buddha. So if we don't have the respect, the faith, the karma, then the Buddha can be there in front of us, but we don't see the Buddha. This is our situation, not the Buddha's situation. So then, the Buddha is free from all fears for himself because he's eliminated the source of such fears, self-cherishing and self-grasping. So when you think of self-cherishing, self-grasping, what do you cherish? What do you grasp onto? Then something that doesn't exist, but you think exists. The self or the ego. From beginningless time, we have created the illusion of a self, I, me, mine. We've created that illusion, and then we grasp onto that illusion, and because we grasp onto it, we want it to be happy, we don't want it to suffer, and because of that, we cherish it. Because we cherish it, we then develop partial mind. I want you closer. You know, I like these flowers, come here. I don't like these flowers, go away. So the attachment and the aversion, the desire, the aversion, and then the ignorance. I don't care. I don't care about those flowers, which is not neutrality. Right? So you have to be careful. We're not in this middle way. We're not developing a mind that is gray, that just doesn't have any feeling about anything. But we're trying to develop all positive feelings, but we're trying to also remove negative feelings. Then there's many stories in the sutras about how Buddha's eliminated fear, self-cherishing, self-grasping. The stories about Devadatta and all the terrible things that Devadatta, Buddha's cousin, tried to do to Buddha. He was a real troublemaker. Gave an elephant some wine and then stampeded the elephant to try and kill Buddha. But Buddha just sat, meditated, and the elephant bowed down in front of him, rolled huge boulders down when Buddha was meditating, and the boulder split in half, rolled away from the Buddha. Many, many, many stories about Devadatta. And you could ask, then why did Buddha keep Devadatta close? Because this is the object of your compassion. This is the object of your patience and your tolerance. So Buddha was showing us that even he had a difficult situation, just like the Dalai Lama shows us. He has a difficult situation, but he doesn't give up. He doesn't cast that person out. He keeps trying and trying and trying. And when Devadatta was dying, was passing away, then he said to the Buddha, I made a terrible mistake. I'm really sorry. So at that time, at the time of death, then he was able to regret. So all of Buddha's good work was valuable, was worthwhile. So there's many stories like that. Anyway, don't have time, but you can look them up. The second point, the Buddha has the skillful means to free others from fear. The Buddha has the skillful means to free others from fear. If he doesn't have skill, when you take refuge in him, then you're taking refuge in a being who doesn't have skill in removing fear. Therefore, that being would not be able to remove your fear, would increase your fear. So the Buddha, by relying on him, because of his ability to have removed all his own fear, is able to help you with your fear. The Buddha is able to deal precisely with the problems faced by all types of beings. So this story is about Angulimala. I told you yesterday, I think, about Angulimala had a false guru who said, kill 1,000 people, and when you get to 1,000, you'll have realizations and you'll become enlightened. And each one you cut the thumb off and you make a mala out of the thumb. And he got to 999 when he met the Buddha. And the Buddha was able to change his mind. There's many stories about this. There's a musician, and Buddha went into a competition with him because this musician had such pride and arrogance over being a musician. And in the end, Buddha was playing a musical instrument without any strings, but still creating beautiful music. And then the arrogant one was subdued. So many, many stories. Lam Chung, Sridatta, Nanda, who had extreme desire for his wife and extreme attachment, so that he was suffering all the time. Buddha was able to remove his suffering. So, you know, if you're interested in that, there's many, many stories about it. You can read up on that. Number 3, Buddha has great compassion and love for all without discrimination. So Buddha doesn't look at you and think tall, short, large, small, blonde, brunette, black-haired, I like, I don't like. He doesn't see any of those as an obstacle to helping you. He helps all. He has an equal love for every sentient being because he sees their Buddha potential, but he also sees their suffering and he wants to remove their suffering. If you look at us, ordinary people, we discriminate. We have friends, enemies, strangers. Whereas Buddha had equal love for Devadatta and Buddha's son Rahula. So you have these two. You know, Devadatta could be on one side cutting the Buddha's arm off, and the other side Rahula could be putting perfumed ointment. And if you ask Buddha, well, which one do you prefer? He would say neither. Both were equal. The ability to give the same love and compassion no matter what the sentient being is doing or the appearance of the sentient being. The Buddha benefits, number 4, the Buddha benefits all sentient beings, whether they've helped him or not. Whether they've helped him or not. This is an interesting point, I think, because, you know, in our modern society, we look for people to help us, you know, to do something. You do something for me and I'll do something for you. You give me a gift, I give you a gift back. So I often give the example of Christmas, birthdays. If you kept giving a gift to somebody, and every year they didn't say thank you, they just took the gift, and they never gave you a gift, how long would you continue to give the gift? Would you continue? So it's an interesting way of thinking because, you know, the Buddha has no such thought. He has equanimity. He sees us all equally. And no matter how much we don't practice, no matter how much we're lazy, no matter how much we procrastinate, he still wants to help us. Whereas an ordinary being might say, oh, I give up. You know, I can't help you. I give up. So the Buddha has that incredible quality of always seeing all sentient beings as equal, but not basing his help on whether they've helped him. It's only from his side that he wants to help. It's not, in a sense, a bargain. He's not looking for a bargain. You help me and I'll help you. It doesn't work like that. There's an interesting story here where Buddha personally healed the sick, taught the Dharma to all, whether they were of high or low caste, kings or householders. So here there's a story about the daughter of King Prasanajit, Princess Vajri. She was unbelievably ugly. Unbelievably ugly. Her face bore a very close resemblance to that of a pig. It says in the text, a pig. And King Prasanajit was so embarrassed about her that he kept her locked up in a room with only a tiny window so that nobody could see her. Poor girl. No one would have anything to do with the girl, and she suffered greatly. One day she heard that the Buddha was a person of great compassion, and thinking that he might be prepared to help her, the princess prayed to the Buddha, and with his clairvoyant awareness, the Buddha saw the girl's situation, and with his entire retinue, he flew to her room, miraculously entering through the tiny window. The princess's faith in the Buddha became so great that she purified the negative karma causing her ugliness, and her entire appearance transformed, and she became very beautiful and led a happy life. It could have been a prince that looked like a pig also. But, you know, we're talking about an actual situation in the Buddha's sutras of where he helped, even though this princess wasn't Buddhist, even though he'd never met her, even though she was in a desperate situation. And, you know, you might think, well, what's she done for me? She's rich. What's she done for me? Or her father's rich. What's he done for me? He hasn't given me any of his riches. Ordinary people can be like that. The Buddha wouldn't behave like that. So then we're up to the ways of going for refuge, recognizing the qualities of the Buddha. So the Buddha has qualities of body, speech and mind. So how do you know a Buddha is a Buddha? If you can perceive a Buddha, they have 32 major marks and 80 minor signs. In other words, they have 112 marks which adorn a Buddha's body. The minor signs symbolize that a Buddha has all internal realizations. So the 80 minor signs are manifestations of inner realizations. The major marks show perfect qualities. So the perfect qualities manifest on the Buddha's body. The cause of the marks and signs is a vast accumulation of positive karma and merit. So Nagarjuna said, the combined merit of all sentient beings, together with the merit of all universal kings, hearers, and solitary realizers, would be sufficient cause to produce a single pore on the Buddha's body. Shall I repeat that, Lillian? Lillian, shocked. The combined merit of all sentient beings together with the merit of all universal kings, wheel-turning kings, hearers, solitary realizers, all of that merit would only be the cause of one pore, P-O-R-E, of the Buddha's body. We start to get an idea of how much merit we need to create a Buddha's body. The merit required to produce all the pores on a Buddha's body, multiplied by 100, would be needed to produce one minor sign. So multiply the first one to get all the pores on the body, right? Then multiply it by 100 would produce one minor sign, and we've got 80 minor signs. This is just to show you how much merit was accumulated by Buddha, because later you're going to think, but how? How on earth do you get all that merit in the quickest possible way to become a Buddha? The answer is bodhicitta. So this is why you need to know you need this vast amount of merit in order to think, where do you get it from? The merit required to produce all the minor signs of a Buddha multiplied by 100 would be needed to produce one major mark. 1,000 times the merit required for 30 major marks would be sufficient cause for the hair treasure. This is a special white hair, coiled hair, on the Buddha's forehead. Many forms are manifested on light rays from this hair treasure for the purpose of helping living beings. So from this point, many light rays go out and manifest as many beings or many phenomena, whatever beings need, the Buddha will manifest that. So in order to produce this hair, 1,000 times the merit required for 30 major marks would be sufficient cause for the hair treasure. It's becoming impossible, right? But it must be possible. 100,000 times the merit, 100 times, one in India, 1 lakh, 100,000 times the merit required for the hair treasure would be sufficient cause for the Buddha's crown protrusion. This is looks like a stupa on the crown. 1,000 trillion times the merit required to produce a Buddha's crown protrusion would be sufficient cause to gain the holy speech of a Buddha. Wow. 1,000 trillion times. It takes us into inconceivable. So the Buddha potential that we all have, you know, Shakyamuni, Buddha, practiced as Siddhartha and became enlightened. So he had the Buddha potential. So what did he practice? Then the 6 transcendental actions, the 6 perfections. He meditated for many lifetimes as a bodhisattva in various forms, and then he achieved enlightenment. Motivated by bodhicitta, he gave his body, his flesh, his wealth, his possessions in extraordinary acts of generosity. He maintained the practice of pure morality by keeping his ordinations perfectly. He practiced patience. He avoided harming any living being. He practiced joyous effort by constantly helping others. He engaged in the practices of concentration and wisdom for innumerable years. As a result of those practices, he attained the 4 bodies of a Buddha and a Buddha's holy body, speech, and mind. So he was an ordinary being, just like us, and by helping all living beings over many lifetimes and persevering in his practices, he was able to gain enlightenment. In the same way, many others have attained Buddhahood. All living beings have the potential to become Buddha. But we should become a bit wary here, because many people say they have Buddha nature. Pure Buddha nature. It's as if they have a pure little Buddha inside, and they're going to sort of, you know, once I bought one of these dinosaurs you put in water and then it grows. So a little bit like that, I think. You have this pure Buddha and it's going to get bigger and bigger and then you become Buddha. This is a misconception. So you have the Buddha potential because you have mind, you have dependent origination or emptiness of the mind. The ultimate truth of the mind is it can become enlightened. So we have mind, then there's the ultimate truth, the emptiness of mind, which means we all have potential to actualize compassion, wisdom, bodhicitta, the six perfections, etc. We all have that potential. The fly, the mosquito, all beings have that potential. The pure nature of mind, having no delusions or faults, does not imply that sentient beings are free of delusions. Our minds at the moment are like a mirror or like a glass with this, if you like, obscuration, that this dirt on the glass or on the mirror. So the purity, the clarity of the mirror or the glass is there, but there's an obscuration. It can't be seen. In the same way, water can be clarified, can have the mud removed. In the same way that when you look at the clear sky has many clouds, and when the clouds part, then you see the clear sky is still there. So there's many examples in the text. The main examples are that your mind is like water, that when the mud is removed, which is the karma and the delusion, when it's removed, the clarity of the mind can be perceived. The sky, when the clouds disappear, then the clarity of the sky can be perceived. The mirror or the glass, when we clean off the dirt, then the clarity, the ability to see in the mirror, the glass, the ability to look through the glass is not impeded by the dirt anymore, in the same way that the dirt of karma and delusion is stopping us from experiencing the clarity of the mind. Is it clear? Mm-hmm. Okay. How much more can I do? Well, there's still a lot. Oh dear, dear, dear. I think I'll stop there because I feel like I've talked a lot. I think we might meditate. No? Now I have to think of a meditation. We can meditate on Shakyamuni Buddha. Shakyamuni Buddha inspiring us. He wants the best for us. He wants us to be free of fear. He wants us to have courage, to be on the Bodhisattva path, the courage to be in our present situation and mentally be able to cope with all the difficulties that we're coping with now. So I think you sit, whatever comfortable position you want to sit in. The main thing is that you have a straight back, that you're breathing through the nose. Breathe all the way down into the abdomen. Taking deep breaths through the nose, from the nose. Breathing in peace and breathing out thoughts. So take 3 deep breaths, breathing in peace, breathing out thoughts. Letting go of thoughts, tension, stress. The mind is like water. It can just settle and be peaceful, calm. So you allow that to happen. And whenever a thought appears, You just breathe it out. Let it go. Breathing all the way down into the abdomen. Breathing in peace. Breathing out thoughts. And out of emptiness, above your crown appears Shakyamuni Buddha, as small as you can make him, with a golden body, radiating golden light in every direction. His eyes looking simultaneously at you and all sentient beings with love and compassion. He wants to help you, to inspire you, to free you from fear and worry and anxiety, stress. So you feel his positive energy above your crown, because he's radiating light down towards you, golden light, and you bathe yourself in that golden light. And as that golden light works its way through your body, warming you or cooling you, whatever's appropriate, you feel all your organs, your blood, your bones, everything inside your body is transforming into light. You feel lighter. You feel purified. All that was weighing you down, that made you feel so heavy, is being transformed by that golden light. If there's any sickness to be removed in the form of inky black liquid, the light is pushing it out through the lower parts of your body. If you have any regrets, anything that you want to let go of, now's the time. Those negative thoughts, the negative actions from the past, being pushed out through the lower part of the body, so that your body is transformed into golden light. There's nothing solid and real about your body anymore. It's just light. But the light has a quality, the qualities of love and compassion. So you are love and compassion. You are patience and tolerance, joy, wisdom. You feel that positive vibration, particularly in your chest area, in your heart area, which has been transformed into light. And once your whole body is full of light, that golden light starts to radiate from all the pores of your body. So thousands or millions of light beams go out from your body to your parents, your family, your friends, and all sentient beings, whatever they need, whether it's a job, whether it's freedom from fear, whether it's compassion, whatever it is they need, the light radiating from your body fulfills their need. Removing their problems, removing their fear and anxiety, transforming them into light, a golden light, transforming their minds into love and compassion. You feel incredible joy that you're able to offer this positive light to countless sentient beings without discrimination. Just whoever needs it receives it. And then countless light beams from all those sentient beings come back to you and fill you up with even more light. That golden light gets stronger and stronger, brighter and brighter, giving you the ability to benefit even more sentient beings. And then at the end of the meditation, you gradually come back to your normal manifestation of conventional human being in order to benefit conventional human beings. But that's not who you really are. And the Buddha above your head dissolves into light and travels down your central channel into your heart chakra and will always be with you wherever you go, whatever you do, whenever you need him. He's always there with you. And then slowly bringing your awareness back to the room that you're sitting in, the cushion you're sitting on, and the meditation you've just been doing. Thank you. So now we're going to dedicate. So I can tell you next week, I will talk about the 4 Buddha bodies. Never talked about this before. Isn't that exciting, Lillian? 4 Buddha bodies. You often hear it, but you don't often get an explanation of it. So I thought next week we'll do that. I've given refuge to a lot of people over the years. And I think, it's always a restricted situation. We've got half an hour, 45 minutes, and you go, blah, 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 thank you, goodbye, and I feel that now is the opportunity to give all this extra information so that those who have taken refuge or wish to take refuge, they have more of a complete idea as to what they're involving themselves in. So next week, 4 Buddha bodies. We have the dedication prayers. So I think today we're not going to do Shantideva. It's becoming a bit of a rote, isn't it? We're going to do all the prayers on page 22. So that's the first 2 in Tibetan and the rest in English. Gewa di nyo du jag Lama Sangha drop your nay, drowa chikyang malupa, deyi sala go parshok. Janjo Sencho Rinpoche Ma Ke Panam Ge Gyochik Ke Panyampa Me Payang Gonne Gondu Belbar Shog. Just as the brave Manjushri and Samantabhadra too realize things as they are, also I dedicate all these merits in the best way, that I may follow their perfect example. I dedicate all these roots of virtue, with the dedication praised as the best, by the victorious ones thus gone of the 3 times, so that I might perform the noble Bodhisattva's deeds. Then we go to page 24. Gangri rewe kowe jingan dia pandan dewa malu jungwe ne chinre ziguang tenzing gyatso yi shape site badu tengyo chik. May the spiritual teachers who lead me on the sacred path and all spiritual friends who practice it have long life. May I pacify completely all outer and inner hindrances. Grant such inspiration, I pray. May the lives of the venerable spiritual mentors be stable and their virtuous actions spread in the 10 directions. May the light of Losang's teachings, dispelling the darkness of the beings in the 3 worlds, always increase.
Wisdom, light of true compassion, source of Tara's love maternal, Losang's doctrine perfect holder, we request your life eternal. Teacher, father, mother, guru, we entreat you live forever, guiding all to liberation, perfecting our minds forever, with your always skillful guidance and profound compassionate ways, shining Tara's light eternal, guiding to her Tathagata mind. Om Guru Vajradhara Samanti Vajaya Sarva Siddhi Hum. Om Tar Tutari Chure Guru Samanti Vajaya Ayur Punija Nana Pushtim Kurye Soha.
Thank you all very much. Thank you for joining me in our afternoon sojourn, whatever that means. And next Saturday, how to meditate, continuing with the 7, what am I doing? 7 limbs, 6, 7, 8, whatever. And then next week on Sunday, talking about the 4 Buddha bodies and finishing off refuge. And then we go on to whoopee-doo, karma. My microphone is shaking. So thank you all very much, and bye-bye, and see you soon. And thank you all so much. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Take care.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jenna.